You were assertive with somebody, you said something, and yet after you walked away, you started questioning yourself, you started doubting, having self-doubt, maybe even having some anxiety, thinking, I should have said more. Maybe you think you weren't assertive enough. You're doubting your tone of voice. My tone of voice was not serious enough. I should have said more. I should have leaned into that person more. I should have been more clear about my disappointment in that situation. I should have given a little bit more. I should have said more sentences. And you're just having those thoughts. You're doubting it. It wasn't enough. You're thinking, I should have done more. And I want to tell you, it's because you didn't get the reaction that you wanted. Probably out of that situation, you spoke up, you were assertive, and you didn't get the reaction that you wanted. And as you continue on and you join this conversation that we have about assertiveness here, you will not always get the reaction that you want, even though you did the right thing, you spoke up. Don't always depend on getting the reaction that you want, because sometimes you will not get it. And that's okay. Because maybe you're thinking, maybe if I would have explained more, I would have got the reaction back. If I would have used a better tone, I would have got the reaction that I wanted back. And that's not true. And I want to share with you a recent experience that I had, just a little small detail here, that assertiveness pops up at different times in different situations. And this past week, I needed to be assertive. And I spoke up quickly and fast. And I started to think about it after. I should have said a little bit more. I could have leaned into that more. I could have said this and that. And I caught myself and I thought, I want to share this on this podcast with you today because I need you to understand in your assertiveness journey that can happen, that you can catch yourself and you can realize that you're starting to have that self-doubt, you're starting to have that anxiety because you didn't get the reaction that you wanted from that person. And if you're always being assertive, thinking I'm going to do this because I'm trying to get something from this other person, it's going to fail. It's going to feel like a failure for you. And it's not a failure for you. You did your part. You did your thing in the moment that was needed to be done. But just because we are assertive does not mean that we can control how someone else responds. All we can do is to influence the situation. And that's what I did this past week. By being assertive and speaking up, I was able to influence the situation and get something out there and get something done. Now, it wasn't completely how I wanted it to be, and sometimes it never is. However, I was there and I influenced the situation. So that's what you're doing this week. You're influencing those situations. So taking something that you are having in your own life right now, maybe you felt there was a past situation. Maybe you're having that thought, and this podcast is starting to resonate with you, that you've had those self-doubts, those thoughts, that you didn't get the reaction that you wanted. Or maybe you know that there's an upcoming situation this week that you want to lean into a little bit more, that you think, oh, well, if I go to it and I say a little bit this way. If you haven't approached this situation, of course, I encourage you to do so. Be assertive. Go forward. And if you already have, I encourage you to sit back in your chair and just do a little deep dive into your own thoughts and consider, what was it that I wanted? What was the reaction that I wanted from that person? And compare that to the influence that you did on the situation by speaking up already. Compare the two and consider what was more valuable there. That you got the reaction, that you made somebody else shift in a certain way. We can't make anybody do anything. You can't make anybody think a certain way. You can influence. And yet sometimes you're just not going to get the reaction that you want. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, we are learning to be an influence. Your assertive voice is you influencing and speaking up. Because if you don't say anything, you are nowhere in that conversation and you're not influencing anything. It's kind of seems a little black and white, but it's true. You're not saying anything. You're not influencing anything. So sit back, consider your own thoughts, and take that with you this week and consider that the truth is that you probably said exactly what you needed to say. Take care.